Hi, welcome. Thanks for coming to the Marsh tonight. And tonight, the Marsh is my house and the homes of the performers you're going to see here tonight. I've had the good fortune to work with all five of them and help them to create new work. So most of what you're going to see here tonight has never existed. Uh, Before a couple of months ago, we've been joining together on Zoom and seeing what inspiration comes to us. Um, Before we get to that, I just want to mention that Zoom seems to have changed settings a little bit. So I just want to make sure all of you have your settings where they need to be. So right now, if you see a lovely blue title slide that fills most of your screen, that's what we want you to see. If you see my image and the small title slide to one side of it, then you need to go up to the upper right-hand corner of your screen where it says View and click on that and choose Standard. You don't want side by side, you want Standard. So like I say, go up to where it says View and click on that and select Standard. All right, that taken care of. And without further ado, let me introduce our first performer tonight. Here's Frank and Graciata.
Good evening, everyone. This is part 3 of my solo play, Senior Moments, continuing where I left off from my last class. To summarize the story, when an actor's Broadway show closes prematurely, he quickly scrambles to take a job teaching senior adults by day and directing a theater group of high school seniors by night. Life lessons are quickly learned by all as these two populations struggle to find their purpose. Hank, I don't belong here. Could you get me out of here? Zena, my name is Frank, and you live here? Oh, that's right. I'm here because you're wearing black. No, Zena, what? You're mourning me because I'm gonna die here. I'm proud of my Italian heritage, but I hated when my mother wore black. She wore it after my father died and until the day she died. When you come here, wear colorful clothes like my Bhutana daughter-in-law. Excuse me, did you call your daughter-in-law a Bhutana? Yeah, the Bhutanas in her country wear colorful clothes. I warned my son not to marry her. I wanted a nice Italian girl for him, but I've grown to love her, even though she's a Bhutana. Zena, in Italian, Bhutana means whore. Oh, are you calling my daughter-in-law a whore? No, you did. Huh? What are you talking about? My daughter-in-law is a Bhutana. She's from the country of Bhutan. Bhutan? The country in Asia? Aren't people from Bhutan called Bhutanas? Zena, I believe they are Bhutanese. Oh, there you go again, Hank, confusing me. It's because you're wearing black, that's why. Don't come here wearing black again. Zena, okay, I won't. Everyone, last week I asked you to all bring a photo from your past that inspires a memory and then write about it. Oh, Blossom, I'm surprised to see you. I was told by your activities coordinator that you were going on your weekly Atlantic City trip that would conflict with our program. Last night, my daughter called from Seattle. When I mentioned to her I was leaving your class, she said, Mama, Your grandchildren don't see you every day. Wouldn't it be nice to leave your stories behind so they have something to remember you? So I found this photo taken by my late husband. Oh, peace be upon him, of me cooking. So even with my arthritic hands and feet, I wrote something. I was raised in a Jewish bicultural family, so I learned to cook from both cultures. On my Sephardic side, my favorite dish was fazule. Oh, back then, I could stand for hours stringing beans and peeling tomatoes, then cooking them in oil flavored with bouillon over rice. My daughter always begged to scrape the bottom of the pot. And on my Ashkenazi side, I made my own gefilte fish. My husband would buy a live carp. It was so big, we had to put it in the bathtub. I have no photo, but I drew a picture using the letter exercise you gave us 3 weeks ago. The L in my name looks like the mallet I used to hit the carp over the head. Oh, I hated doing that to the poor fish, but secretly, it was a good release when my husband got on my nerves. Oh, if I say so myself, it was pretty good. But I was as a stay-at-home mom. I like when you gave me that title. Makes me feel like maybe I was more than just a housewife. You make me remember what I've forgotten. I don't know if I like that. Well, Blossom, you know what I like? For the first time, I see a smile on your face. Zena, is that a picture you're holding? Hank, I found it in an old photo album, but I don't recognize this person. Well, if you looked in a mirror, who would you see? Oh, is it me? Oh, when I asked my son who I was, he said, "What's wrong with you? Don't you remember where you worked?" I couldn't. Well, it looks like you were a switchboard operator. Oh, yeah. The phone company. The New York Telephone Company. Oh, did I say it wrong? No. Well, you were quite a beauty in this photo. I was? Are you flirting with me? Oh, I have a picture for the A in my name. It looks like the heavy headset I wore over my head when I was a switchboard operator. See? Bob, did I do it right? Oh, yeah, Zena, you did. I never knew that about you. Oh, and Blossom, what you wrote makes me hungry for lunch. You guys are a bunch of Emily Dickinsons today. Yes, Sid? No photo. Sid, that's okay. You know, I looked you up. You were quite a published poet in your day. Rather than using a photo, I found this poem you wrote called "To Be Genuine." I highlighted some words in your poem. I'm going to draw pictures next to them. Maybe seeing those words visually will inspire you to write about what you're feeling inside after your stroke. Oh, and I keep forgetting. 3 weeks ago, you left behind your whiteboard. And may I share what you wrote? To stay present, I need to connect. I understand, because sometimes I too need to stay present if I want to connect. And that's what you all did today.
Ladies and gentlemen, lunch is being served.
Everyone says goodbye as they leave. Huh, that's a first. Bob lags behind. Bob, I noticed you didn't bring a photo.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That was a great idea you had to draw pictures to stimulate Sid's brain through his aphantasia. I'll help him.
Thank you. Next time, Bob, I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, yeah. There's my daughter, Melissa. She's meeting me for lunch today. This is the memoir guy, Frank.
Oh, my father talks about your class all the time. Thank you for what you're doing. He can really use...
Oh, Melissa, we have to get to that cafeteria before the other wildebeests dry up the watering hole.
I thought Bob was going to be the easy one. Did I just make a connection today? Huh. If I can do this with my elder seniors, maybe I could do it with my high school seniors tonight. I quit so many times in my mind. You know, this needing to be liked routine, not working. Time to use a direct approach. Everyone, let's begin. Xander will take it from your line. By the way, you are growing so much as an actor. Amazing job. Thank you, Mr. Frank.
Of course, Xander's doing an amazing job. He has me. Our former director, Miss Sally, always had me playing opposite him to make him look good. Don't you remember, little Prancer?
Blaine, I don't need you to do that anymore. What Mr. Frank is saying is, it's my work that makes me look good.
What about me, Frank? Have I grown as an actor too?
Mr. Frank, Blaine doesn't know his lines in this scene. He's confusing everyone on stage.
I heard that. Don't you worry. I will let my freak flag fly.
Freak Flag Fly? That's a song from the musical Shrek, right? Well, your freak flag will fly half-mast if you don't learn your lines. Xander's right. We're opening next week.
Oh, sorry, little Prancer. Didn't see you there. The prop cactus got in the way.
Blaine, you shoved Xander deliberately. You know, I've just about had enough of... Mr. Frank, please, don't. Let's continue. Blaine, the staging you're doing, it's not in the script. You're supposed to snatch the cactus instead of grab the prop backs.
That's what's in the playwright's stage direction.
No, Blaine, I'm looking at the script and Mr. Frank is right.
Oh, shut up, little Prancer. Who made you director?
Blaine, Xander shows respect. That's what makes him different than you.
I directed this scene. I should know what the script says. Let me see it.
Well, let me respond with the lyric from the musical Beauty and the Beast. Be my guest.
You'll,
What, Blaine? No therapeutic song to bounce back with?
you favor Xander, and you're finding pleasure in this.
He exits.
The know-it-all got it wrong.
The Itney twins are staring at me with disdain. I humiliated their fearless leader. I should go after him. Fuck it. Take 10, everyone. Mr. Frank, I appreciate you sticking up for me, but I'm okay. No, it's not okay. Why do you let Blaine bully you like that? Blaine calls me a little prancer because I dance ballet. He thinks I'm gay. They all do. Maybe I'm not enough of a man like he thinks he is, but I know I'm not gay. But I guess I am the weird one. Around here, I guess I'm the weird one too. How does dancing make you feel? Oh, well, it's not a feeling. It's just a part of me. Mr. Frank, would you like to be my guest at my ballet class tomorrow? I'm rehearsing for a performance. My mom can drive you there. While in the car with Xander's mom, Lynn, my mind can't stop replaying yesterday's rehearsal. I was gloating like an adolescent when I should be acting like the adult. We arrive. Wow. I was expecting a neighborhood storefront school, but this is the School of American Ballet. Lynn says, Xander has never invited anyone from his school to watch him dance. He must feel safe around you. The class begins. I search the troupe for a 15-year-old wiry boy, but where is he? Is that the boy who's called Little Prancer by his peers? Every arm wave defines elegance. Every leg raise suspends gravity. So grounded in his power. I recognize it because I long to reclaim that power for myself. Xander, wow, you are awesome. I lean in to give him a hug when I feel a pouch protruding over his abdomen. He recoils and runs into his dressing room. Oh shit, I hope that didn't come across as inappropriate. His mother reads my face. Frank, it's okay. Xander's embarrassed. He doesn't want anyone to know he wears a colostomy bag from Crohn's disease. And he does all that? Wow. His classmates should see him do this. Xander returns in his street clothes. Did my mom tell you? Don't ever let those kids at school make you believe you're not a man. They have no clue who you are, but they should. You are an athlete, and I'm proud of you. You don't belong in that school. You should be at the High School of Performing Arts. Mr. Frank, they have no clue who you are, but they should. You don't belong there either. Oh shit, I'm the director. Should a high schooler be seeing my vulnerability? I'm investing so much with these kids and collecting so little interest. What am I forgetting here? After Xander's ballet class, we arrived to that evening's noises off high school rehearsal. Walking through the parking lot, I see Blaine in his car performing his daily makeout session with Whitney. Wait, Whitney just entered the theater. Could that be her twin sister, Brittany? I can tell them apart now. Oh shit, it's neither of the Itneys. It's another guy from the cast. Mr. Frank, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And Blaine calls me Little Prancer. I know he's done that to you before, but doesn't make it right to do it back to him. What's more messed up is what he's doing to Whitney. Blaine spots us. He races out of the car.
Please, please, don't tell Whitney. If she finds out, she'll never go to prom with me.
No, that's between you and her. But you might want to tell her before someone else does. My 2 senior programs began together and ironically will end on the same day. I've got 24 hours before their performances and I'm zigzagging between preparing a matinee for the elders while finalizing our final dress rehearsal for the high schoolers' opening night. Bob, are you holding your stomach? Are you sick?
Oh, Frank. Oh, you're early to class. No. I was trying to find my toothpick. I'm turning into a hamster.
Okay, I'll bite. Why?
Every day is a new discovery with this getting older thing. The gaps between my teeth are getting so wide, I can store what I ate for breakfast and eat it for lunch.
Well, that saves a meal. Oh, by the way, I sat with Sid and helped him make some connections around the pictures you drew. He studied them for a long time. I think he wrote something, but I don't know what he did. Well, thank you for doing that. But today, I'm looking forward to hearing a story you'll share for our culminating event tomorrow.
Back. I could share a story, but I had no time to write anything because I was helping Sid. Oh, Sid, your ears must have been burning, and here's Zena and Blossom. Sid, why don't you share what you wrote with Frank?
Sid, may I read it? This is called Where Is My Voice? My stroke, press. Did you mean to write oppression? Oh, okay. My stroke, oppression, I long, expression. I got it. There's more inside than people see. Whispers calling for my voice to be heard. Wow. Sid, what a beautiful expression of your story.
Sid, that was wonderful.
Sid, oh, I never heard that from you before. Oh,
Sid, you've said so much since your stroke.
Sid, would you share this tomorrow at our culminating event? Hank, what's a terminating event? Did someone here die again? Zena, not terminating, culminating. Sorry, that's another word for the performance we'll be giving tomorrow morning. You never said I was performing. Yes, during our first class and many times after that. It will be a story that we share for the residents and families and our funders. You could share your wonderful telephone story. In front of people? I won't know what to do. I'll freeze. Well, I won't be able to make it tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment. Zena, I haven't even mentioned the time of our performance. Well, I know I'll have one at that time.
Yay. Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yay! Wonderful. My mother and I are eating a TV dinner, Swanson's fried chicken. Everything is nicely separated in its own space. The peas, the carrots, and the corn are over on the right-hand side, mashed potatoes on the left, in between them, an apple dessert. And taking up the most real estate is the fried chicken. It is delicious. There's no danger of overeating because you get what you get, and that's it. Tomorrow, I look forward to trying the beef dinner with something called hashed browns. In our previous life, dinner at home would be 5 courses, prepared and served by the help. I've never eaten dinner in front of the TV before. I love it. It saves time and combines 2 favorite activities. My family has picked up stakes and left Hong Kong for Los Angeles on short notice. We are nouveau poor. My father has suffered a huge financial setback and the money is gone. We're not a talkative family. Certainly, no one asks about feelings or mentions them. It's a given that everyone feels like they've been hit by a truck. I've never been apart from my older sisters. They're in college in upstate New York, Patsy in upstate New York and Lulu in Vancouver, British Columbia. A photo of my mother from that time looks like a mugshot. Her hair is a newly minted bob that's supposed to be low maintenance, but she hasn't maintained it. She's wearing no makeup and there are bags under her eyes. She looks like she's barely holding it together. My mother is taking driving lessons. In the meantime, my brother, who's been in LA for a couple of years, is the only driver in the family, and he lives apart. So this being LA, we're home a lot. Mom and I have taken to watching sports on TV, a lot of it. College football, NFL, NBA. We root for the home teams, USC, UCLA, and the Lakers. There's no talk of a plan. My father got his job as a banker through my grandfather's connections. At the end of the day, he doesn't seem to know much about banking. I don't think he's ever been on a job interview. My mother has never worked. We're used to having a car and driver and 3 live-in maids, a cook, a laundress, and a housekeeper. We've never cleaned the house, prepared a meal, or washed the dishes, hence the frozen dinners. On top of everything, my parents are not getting along. Our version of hard times is a rented 2-bedroom apartment in Beverly Hills. We're right across Olympic Boulevard from the high school. Yes, 90210. I will be in 10th grade. It's December 1970. I wear the same clothes to school every day, a light denim work shirt from Sears and bell bottoms. I am seriously depressed, or at least in a recession. I miss our life in Hong Kong, my sisters, my cousins, my friends, my aunts and uncles. I graduate early, happy to avoid senior prom. I major in French and Chinese at UC Santa Barbara. I drop out after my sophomore year and move to San Francisco with my boyfriend, Ted. 2 years after that, my father also moves up and followed shortly by my mother. Happily, they live apart. My mother gets a job at Security Pacific Bank at the Embarcadero. This is her first job ever at the age of 42. She had attended Fudan University in Shanghai, but she never graduated. On her job application, though, she gave herself a bachelor's degree because, as she said, how would they even check? China was completely closed to the outside world. My father's not working. I have no idea how he's supporting himself. Maybe his sisters are helping him. When we first got together, I had told Ted, I've always been attracted to girls. I think it might come up sometime. After 3 years in San Francisco, we break up. It's 1978, and it seems every homosexual in the world is in San Francisco or trying to get here. I'm already here, and the pull is undeniable. If you don't drink and dance, don't even bother to come out. The whole culture is centered around bars. In a decade or so, we'll have more choices, like AA meetings, for instance. It's awkward going out to a lesbian bar for the first time. I check out one that's near my apartment, Peg's Place. Everybody here looks really preppy. They look like they have good jobs downtown. They look straight. I love to dance, but I'm not much of a drinker. I start with the gateway drink, a White Russian. It's a potent mix of vodka, Kahlua, and cream. After a couple of these, I'm more relaxed, but still too shy to ask anyone to dance. No one asks me either. Do I need a different outfit? Maybe I'll get one of those polo shirts with the alligator on it and wear it with the collar turned up. I make the rounds at all the lesbian bars. Maud's in Cove Valley has an eclectic crowd, although on Sundays, it seems the entire softball league is in there with their backwards baseball caps and the sweatshirts with the cut-off sleeves. Without a college degree, I can only get low-paying office jobs for which I have to show up on time in office attire. I am not a morning person. I've been going out a lot and staying out late. I quit my straight job and start driving a cab. I love to drive fast, and now I have an excuse. I really enjoy giving tourists the true San Francisco experience. Going from Fisherman's Wharf to downtown, I take Jones Street over Nob Hill. I speed up as we cross California, and then I watch my passengers in the rearview mirror as I let gravity and momentum take over. It's like driving off a cliff. Sometimes I warn them, sometimes not. We bottom out at Pine and hurtle toward Bush. One of my fellow drivers, Connie, is wiry with shaggy brown hair. She likes to wear white shirts with a pack of cigarettes rolled up in the sleeve and a tie loosely tied around her neck. Her style icon is Patti Smith. She has a cratered scar on top of a distorted tattoo from her bicep past her elbow. Her mother had wanted a real girl, not a tomboy. She ran away from home and started using heroin. One night, she tried to kill herself by injecting turpentine. She was lucky her veins collapsed before it reached her heart. She told me more than once how the surgeon had fought hard to save her tattoo, how kind he was, and how much that meant to her. Connie brings me to a lesbian dive bar at Dubose and Sanchez called Scott's. Monica, the bartender, is a tall redhead with a big presence. I ask for a White Russian. We don't have any cream here. I don't think anybody has ordered any Russians. That's a first. Connie suggests that I have what she's having. Yeah, I'll take one of those. Whoa, that really burns. Yeah, you just have to sip it. It'll be fine after a couple of sips. Have a cold beer with it. I switched to Scotch, Johnny Walker Black, straight up with a beer chaser. It does get smoother. One night, Monica motions for me to stay behind as she hurries out all the other patrons at 1:45 a.m. After she locks the door, she refills my drink and says, "Would you like to do some coke?" Yeah, I'd love to do some coke. She cleans the bar and puts out a couple of lines, rolls up a dollar bill and hands it to me. Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Not working tonight? I got out early, and when they started calling for short shifts, I turned it in. Do you like driving a cab? I think it is so cool. Do you ever get scared? It's always good to be cool. There's a new dance bar on Valencia Street, and Monica and I are going. We have a drink at her place, put some Coke in a bottle with a small spoon attached, do a line on the way out. Amelia's is only the second lesbian dance bar in the city, and it's got 2 levels. Downstairs, there's a bar, banquettes against the wall, tables in the middle. There are large framed photographs of Marlene Dietrich, Greta Garbo, Katharine Hepburn, and Amelia Earhart on the walls. There's music, but you can talk. You can hear the bass coming from the dance floor upstairs. Monica and I make our way upstairs, drinks in hand. It's hopping. Monica's all dolled up. She's in full makeup. She's got a sequin top, colorful skirt, platform sandals. I'm wearing my new gray baggy pants that cinch up at the ankle, and there's a loop for your belt pin so your belt doesn't ride up. They're French, and a major purchase at $69. A friend and I spot each other across the room and double over laughing. We're wearing the same pants. Monica's checking out the room. She's 5'10", and she likes butch women at her eye level. Do you see anybody you like? I point to a blonde with wavy hair. You do like those blondes. Why don't you go over there and ask her to dance? She's been checking you out. Really? Are you sure? I think she's looking at somebody else. Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive comes on, and everyone jumps on the dance floor, and they sing along at the top of their lungs with feeling. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I. I will survive. I turn to Monica. There's a lot of bitterness in here right now. We both get another drink and get in line for the bathroom. We scrunch into the same stall and do more Coke. When we come out, I feel good, I look good, and I'm going to ask that blonde to dance. Why do people go to therapy when they can just do some cocaine? I'm a regular at Scott's now. The new bartender, Lou, is the cutest. She's got short brown hair with a thin as tiny as braid down the back. She's wearing a nice shirt with a bolo tie and lipstick. Her blue eyes sparkle, and she's full of snappy comebacks. I tell a cab story to try and make an impression. Oh, maybe I shouldn't smoke so much dope anymore because my short-term memory is kaput. Last night, I'm going down Eddy Street in the left lane, and then I decide I'm going to go south of Market. So I got to change over to the right lane and make the right on North 5th. So I check my blind spot in the rear view. I can't believe it. There are 2 Japanese businessmen sitting in the back, quiet as mice. How long have they been there? Where are they going? Where did I pick them up? I look at the meter and it's running. The whole bar cracks up. Tomorrow, Lou and I are going to go on a date. My mother is doing well. She's a teller, but she's let it be known that she would like to run the safe deposit. For work, she mixes and matches the 2 outfits she got in Beverly Hills. She looks like the people who would come in to visit their jewelry. They gave her the job. Now she has her own little section in the bank and she works by herself. It doesn't pay much, but she's very proud of her achievement. Over the last 2 decades, she had built a little nest egg in IBM stock, and she cashes it in to buy a modest house in the Sunset. She is, for the first time in her life, independent, and she's the happiest I've ever seen her. I go over there most Sundays for lunch. She's become a really good cook. Mom has figured out a lot of things on her own, like mortgage financing and muni. So, Mom, how do you get to work? 我揸車去 Richmond， 泊咗車搭1號巴士去 downtown. So she drives from the Sunset to the Richmond, parks her car, then takes the #1 California all the way to the Embarcadero, and she gets off at the last stop in front of work. And on the way home at rush hour, she gets on the first stop and always gets a seat, which is good because when the bus is fully loaded, it cannot make it up Nob Hill between Powell and Mason. So the bus driver asks everyone who doesn't have a seat to get off and walk. So all these people in their nice suits and skirts, and their purses and briefcases and their work shoes have to trudge up Nob Hill. The bus waits for them at Mason Street. But if you take too long, it takes off without you and you have to wait for the next bus. People get so mad. Oh, I'm starving, but I can't think of anything I want to eat. Last night, I knocked off around midnight and proceeded to drink and smoke cigarettes and do cocaine until 6 in the morning. I didn't sleep well, feeling very rough this morning. I stop at Original Joe's at Eddie and Taylor at 3 p.m. on the way to work. I sit at the counter and I order spaghetti with meatballs. I'm hoping that by the time it arrives, I'll have an appetite. I ask for water. I'm chewing my spaghetti. Finally, I swallow. I practice the deep breathing I learned in yoga, trying to keep it down. I can't eat anymore. I know the guy behind the counter is watching me. I am in the Tenderloin after all, and I imagine I look to be on the cusp of a downward spiral, something he's probably seen a lot of, though perhaps a bit against type. A young Asian woman in a clownishly big yellow shirt. I got it at a thrift store. A skinny black tie, a black vest with a cab badge on it. This is my idea of a chauffeur's outfit. I order a minestrone soup and am able to eat some of that. I pack the rest to go. I'm embarrassed. A couple of weeks after that, I'm over at my mother's having lunch. I'm ravenously hungry and hungover. Have you been eating? You're eating so fast today. Are you okay? Your complexion is terrible. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just tired. After lunch, we watched the 49ers on TV. Joe Montana, Roger Craig, and Jerry Rice are on their way to another Super Bowl appearance. My mother sits on the edge of the sofa. And when Montana completes the throw to Rice, whew, she gives a little yelp. Actually, I don't feel good most of the time. I've been staying up late, chasing a high I will never find again. Night after night, I tell myself, I'm just going to hang out with my friends for a little bit, and then I'm going to go home. I tell stories. So I'm in the left lane on Eddy Street, and I'm going to make a right turn so I can go south of Market, and I check my blind spot in the rearview mirror. I keep going, even as I am fully aware that I have told this story to the same people at least a dozen times. I have heard all their stories told and retold. When the garbage trucks come at 6 in the morning, I'm like, I am mortified. I need to change it up. The only thing I can think of is to go back to school. A month later, I'm in line for open registration at San Francisco State. I randomly picked a class that meets at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right before work. It's called Introduction to Computer Programming. 4 years later, I graduate and I start work as a software engineer. My mother couldn't be happier. 2 years after that, she passes away. I'm glad she lived long enough to see that I had made it through and that I was going to be okay.
Yay. Yay.
Wonderful.
Is this seat taken?
It's yours.
Soupy doopy.
Okay, welcome, newcomer. We're just getting started. I'm just joyful, a happy pansexual, he, him pronouns, and I'm the secretary of this group. Now, you don't have to identify as LGBTQIA+ to join this group. However, we started the support group to support each other queers to talk about heartbreak and healing from a recent breakup. Popo? Yes, welcome you, je suis Popo, Sugar Queen Plum Fairy, he, they, they, gay, à toi.
Je suis soon to be happy. She, her, hers, and gay. Yeah, I'm here because please feel free to partake of the cupcakes. They're gluten-free, mini, homemade, so you can have as many as you want with rainbow holiday sprinkles. Sprinkles. I count out the exact same amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As much sugar as a goo-boo.
What's a goo-boo?
I'm here to take notes, swap books, make snacks, and I believe I have a lot to offer.
Central casting is 2 doors down. Popo, this isn't a job interview. Just start with what brought you here today.
The one California bus.
Perfect, clever girl. And for your first question, please tell us what brought you to the recent breakup support group.
Well, see, I'm not much for dating.
Dating? What are you talking about?
Well, I can't remember the last time I had a date.
Okay, Popo, you've had an adult romantic relationship, right?
Do I have to answer that? I mean, I'm not asexual. I'm not against it. It's just maybe I'm unlucky in love, which reminds me of a song. A fine romance with no kisses. A fine romance, my friend. We should be like a couple of hot tomatoes.
Listen, high-frequency songbird, you show up with underwhelming, teeny, non-vegan cupcakes.
Really?
I appreciate the effort, and someday I'd like to borrow your Hello Kitty cardigan, periwinkle, creamsicle, high-top sneakers. That's aside the point. You've never had a romantic anything?
Not exactly.
It's called the Recent Breakup Support Group.
I thought this group could extend to any breakup, say with a friend.
Just joyful? Well, we need to confer first. Gaze offline. Well, you know, sometimes it is harder with a friend breakup. You know, it could be difficult. You want to make an exception? Gaze online. It's your lucky day, Chica. We've extended the group to other recent breakups.
Goody! Marmar will be so pleased.
Who?
My cat.
Okay, Popo. I like cats. Yeah. All right. Queens, Jeans, and James Deans, soon to be happy. Please tell us what brought you to the recent breakup support group.
My story starts when I was 4 years old.
I'll time you. Go ahead.
I was 4. I had a best friend, Samantha. And one day Samantha invited me over to watch the movie Mary Poppins. And for the first time in my life, I saw her, Julie Andrews. I was mesmerized. I went home and I prayed, Julie Andrews, I want to love you. I want to love you. Maybe I want to be you. Samantha,
Never judge anything by an appearance, even a carpetbag.
we quoted from Mary Poppins, she and I. See, I wanted a sister, a brother, so Samantha and I took turns playing Julie Andrews and the kids, flying together, adventuring the world, North London, holding hands in the park,
Turning in for the night.
Stay awake, don't rest your head. Don't lie down upon your bed. Samantha and I would sing to each other
If you can call it that.
till we fell asleep. We'd share everything, hairbrushes, go-go albums. This town is our town. This town is so glamorous. Bet you'd live here if you could and be one of us. Then, for the 8th grade dance, the night before graduation, Samantha and I wore matching pink taffeta dresses, and we sang and danced the night away. I get weak when I look at you, weak when I think I can't speak, when I look in your eyes. Then, the day after graduation, Samantha calls me. Soon, come over right now. What's going on? I got something to tell you. Oh, no.
What?
Where did the popcorn come from?
Here.
Thanks, Popo. So, my mom drops me off. Samantha and I embrace. We run to the swings. Well, soon. Okay, my mom got a job in Manhattan, New York City, Kansas. What? Soon, U-Haul's coming tomorrow. I'm going to look at schools in Kansas, Manhattan. How long do we have? 30 minutes. Oh, well, what are you going to do when you first get to Kansas, Manhattan? Maybe I'll memorize the streets, meet all the kids in the neighborhood. Promise me you'll write me every week soon. Promise? I promise, Samantha. I promise. I love you, Samantha. I love you soon. I love you too, Sam. Samantha. Our moms, I don't know, practically pulled us away from each other, like visiting hours were up at the kids' local jail. My mom drags me to the car. And out the window, I see Samantha. We wrote each other every week. And then high school started. I get a letter from Samantha. Dear Soon, I got a boyfriend. I couldn't be happier. I wrote her back. Nothing. I wrote her again. Still nothing. Wrote her one more time. Nothing. It's like that metaphysical quote. Life equals solitude.
I've never heard of it.
Meanwhile, every day I go into high school and everybody's running towards somebody. But nobody's running towards me. Nobody notices me. Strategy. I sit in the front row with the smart kids. Nothing. I sit in the back row with the misfits. Nothing. I sit in the middle and I write, Samantha. See, I wanted to be in an all-girl group, like a band with Samantha, but I don't know any girls. So I joined the drama club. And well, I saw wood, make sets, and repaint, make believe. I'm not a religious person, but at night I pray. Miss Andrews, please, please make my senior year the best year of my life. Next day, Miss Pips, the drama teacher, announces auditions for the Adventures in Alice in Wonderland. Now's my chance. Memorize every monologue. Rent the BBC version. I Google British accent for dummies. Dear, how queer things are today, and yesterday things went on just as usual. And I channeled supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, supercalifragilistic. Guess what? I was cast as Alice. The lights come up. I hit the stage, and in the haze of the darkness, I see through the gray. Kids in the school are looking at me. Girls are smiling at me. Teachers are listening to me. I take my bow. Curtsy, curtsy, curtsy. I run backstage, wipe off my makeup so I can run out and face the crowds. But unlike Flashdance, no one's picking me up and spinning me around. Or Hoosiers. I'm not getting a high five or on anyone's shoulders. I'm left alone in an empty school parking lot as the last car's rear lights disappear down the road. My mom shows up late.
How was school?
I was in a play, remember, Mom?
Is that what you were doing?
I didn't speak a word of it to my dad. And the next day,
Yes.
I'm still the same gay, nerdy theater kid, ironing weird pilgrim costumes for our town again.
I don't remember that part. Okay, hold on. So what happened after high school?
Well, I went to college. Not sure what to major. I played it safe.
No, all right. English?
Etymology. I thought science would be beneficial. But I just ended up listening to 80s music videos in the science library. Till one day, I seen an announcement for an all-girls a cappella group, Cantantes Perdidas, lost singers. I didn't know what it meant at the time, but I auditioned and I got in. And there, under the lights, I saw her. Jolena, I saw, and she saw me. Today, the world was just an address, a place for me to live in, no better than all right. But here you are, and what was once a world is a star tonight. Who am I fooling? No soprano over here, just an alto. Soon? You want to coordinate outfits for the next duet? Sure, Jolena, want to come over tonight? Yeah. Okay, Jolena, what do you think? Sparkle, tuxedo jacket, like Annie Lennox meets Ziggy Stardust.
Cool. I can wear a bow tie, gold, and you can wear a silver one. I'll lend you it. Let's practice the slow dance.
Okay. I get weak when I look at you, weak when we speak. Jolena, tell me something about you I don't know.
All right. Well, you go first.
No, you.
Okay. My mom says that I'm intuitive.
My mom doesn't believe in intuition.
Yeah, I can sense spirits.
I talked to Julie Andrews.
She knows.
Tea break. Throat coat tea?
Sure, yeah. Hey, Soon, you didn't tell me you have a twin sister.
Oh, no, that's just me, middle school graduation, pink taffeta dresses. It was my best friend in grade school, yes, Samantha. And there we are at graduation.
Yeah, you sure went to a lot of Go-Go's concerts together. You framed a lot of tickets.
Oh, yeah, we went to all the concerts together. We sure did.
Wow. Thank you for the tea.
Want to sit down on my bed?
Okay, sure.
Sit this down. Can I kiss you, Jolena?
Sure. You can kiss me soon.
It was strange. It was cool. It was neat.
Soon?
Yeah?
Are you here with me?
Yeah, of course I am. What do you mean?
Well, I kind of feel like someone else is here.
No, all my roommates will be home late tonight.
Yeah, three's a pyramid. See, I can't compete with all of this.
What are you talking about?
I'm gonna get going.
Well, I can walk you to your dorm.
No, I got it. I'll call you soon. Soon?
Well, Jolena never called me again.
So, was that Samantha's energy in the room? Just joyful. Of course it was Samantha's energy, right?
Listen, we're out of popcorn.
We don't have any more coconut grass-fed butter.
There's no such thing as coconut grass-fed butter.
Let's soon finish the story. Okay, well, what did you do now?
I was desperate. I wrote a final letter on a Starbucks napkin. Dear Samantha, I believe we're meant to be together in another life. Your best childhood friend. Soon. XOXO kitty emoji. I took the napkin to Presidio Park. I waited till it rained. And I sang at the top of my lungs, take the L out of lover and it's over. You ever heard of it?
Yes, don't sing.
I burnt the letter. Well, it didn't work. Belinda Carlisle's voice kept stalking me through the sound speakers at Walgreens, Trader Joe's, and Kaiser.
That sucks, not TJ's.
I know. I don't want Samantha's ghost or any ghost haunting me, blocking me from having love. That's why I'm here. Yeah. There's only 2 cupcakes left. Who's next?
Well, perhaps the reader, when she arrives, can all give us some insight.
What's a reader?
Well, you'll meet the reader. What would you describe her? Well, she's a trip, girl. She's a trip, but I think you'll like her. Well, I think she's actually very late. Hello.
Ah! You scared me. I was scared. There's now only 1 cupcake left. Sugar, cream, pumpkin spice. No?
I'm the reader. Biddly boo. You must be soon to be happy. I'll be right with you. Chaka chaka.
Oh.
Yay.
Yeah. Round of applause for Tina Delia.
Leading up to this, I'm sleeping with a documentary filmmaker who has a whip. I'm obsessed with Sylvester Stallone and want to get a job working with him. The day after the women at the film production office told me, oopsie, something happened. The day after the women at the film production office told me I could not have a job interview, I went back down to the producer's office in New York. This is about a month after the abortion. Maybe I should tell you this story in chronological. Never mind. They told me again I could not have an interview. I sat there hour after hour, just me and 2 receptionists, with my little Hermes calendar that my very elite documentary film boss, Yasser Arafat, had brought me back from Paris. And I drew little Celtic crosses as a magical symbol that might get me a job working with Sylvester Stallone. I drew the little Celtic crosses. I'm drawing these damn crosses. 14 hours. Finally, after 2 days, when I went in, I had been to hypnosis because somebody told me that might help me lose weight. So I'd been to hypnosis and they had anchored with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, this point on my shoulder. If I hold my hand there, I can know what to eat. Well, I needed to know what to say. So I just sat in the interview like this the whole time with my arm on the back of the couch in my belted trench coat. And I guess I looked confident because I got the job. I'll spare you the details around the following. The fact that Stallone would start calling into Ann, the woman I worked with, to give us rewrites at 8 p.m. And I could hear his voice on the phone. The fact that he came in with an entourage of Tonys, not award statues, men named Tony, wearing a huge raccoon coat, red suspenders, and jeans. The fact that he said his girlfriend had dressed him and he had just broken up with her. It's all working out, ladies and gentlemen. See, it's all working out for me. The fact that I wore little hand-stitched crosses on satin hearts, which hung on a long white velvet ribbon down to my waist over a purple dress, because I thought he would recognize me and our connection from another life. The fact that although I was within 3 to 8 feet of him in a tiny conference room, his eyes never landed on my necklace or on me at all. The fact that my producer film boss seemed very unhappy about what I had decided to wear to work to meet his film star. The producer was always like that. You know, one thing I learned, limos do not make people less angry or less stressed. What I was wearing is not what people in the film business are wearing to work. I took the hillbilly elegy to New York. But that weekend I was sent down to the Diamond District to buy Stallone a wedding ring for the film. And so I finally knew that God wanted me to marry Sly Stallone, which was oddly enough what I had wanted all along, but never told anyone. And my sole coworker was going to Studio 54 every night with Stallone and his friend. And she was sleeping with Sly's friend. So I knew I was going to get invited to go one night when we finished at 9 or 10. It was clear as roadkill. And I was great at reading the signs God was sending me through the roadkill. I thought, I am going to be invited to Studio 54. By the way, I have asked God not to communicate with me via roadkill, and God has shown some improvement. I affirmed that I would be going to Studio 54 by hanging out my long peach chiffon dress on my bedroom closet door. Of course, I still have it. This was a dress one might wear if dancing the Nutcracker, not something you would wear to Studio 54. See, now I know the sign said, come over here, little girl. Come on, stupid. Come over here. This is a test. People ascribe this to the devil. This is, in my opinion, life tricking me for the purpose of testing my ass. You think this show is about some stupid girl having a thing for a movie star. But I knew less about my husband, Waylon, when I married him 21 years ago than I knew about Sly Stallone. Not that Stallone would marry me. Anyway, I don't want to give the story away. I knew a great deal more about Stallone than I did about Waylon when I married him. Actually, the way I think of it now is life is often flagging me down. Don't take off in this plane. The weather is very poor. The boar is called the cock. The man has a whip. Life is trying to tell me, don't come over here, stupid. Turn off the plane. See, I knew this about Waylon when we went to Spirit Rock. Someone in the room was snoring behind me during the meditation. After 3 minutes, I opened my eyes and Waylon was lying there. I did no touch dating with him for 3 months, said, here's your hug, so I wouldn't get addicted because I had once literally fallen for the feeling I got touching a Tai Chi master's hand. A Tai Chi master who smoked a lot of pot and drank a lot of alcohol. He did have a PhD from Princeton. And I knew that when Waylon and I went to see my therapist 2 weeks before the wedding, and I said, right now you have so many commitments. I have only one night with you, and I want two. Waylon said, no. It took 14 years for that to clear up, and then it got worse. See, you learn in a marriage, many things remain unresolved. Someone told me to learn to love regardless. Worst advice I ever got. I really recommend learning to love real estate. And given the choices I have made, Sylvester Stallone was not my worst choice. I envisioned helping Sly write something deep and profound, which was evidently what God wanted, while cruising in the back of a white limo down Madison Avenue with a notebook between us, something more meaningful than Rocky II, something very center for the lower self, very Reverend Ike, an amalgam of the two because I understood life better than Stallone, who had a hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton, a bunch of feature films to his credit, a lot of money, and a limo. I thought he needed my help. This is how Waylon consistently thinks I need his help. I think he needs my help. They call this codependency, ladies and gentlemen. I will not mention the fact that one of Sly's famous co-stars asked me to sleep with him. Not going to mention a name. Billy D. It was one of the only stupid things I didn't do in my life. He had just filmed The Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars didn't hold a candle to Rocky. And it was disgusting how much he was telling me about his extraordinary wife, her beautiful artwork, and how she didn't care who he slept with. Also, he had the flu. At this point, I told Bruce, the filmmaker, that I had a thing for Sly Stallone because I thought it was only fair to let him know that I was about to go out with another man. Bruce's reaction was not predictable. As we circled the bed, he said, "You, what? You have a thing for whom? You have a thing for Sly Stallone?" He lurched across the bed. The intellectual elite in the documentary film community in New York are not great Stallone worshipers. Eventually, he sat down on the bed and said, "That snake Ann will never introduce you. You will have to introduce yourself." Somewhere Bruce is alive today, afraid that I'm going to tell this whole fucking story. I'll spare you the invasive Sunday afternoon phone call I made to Mr. Stallone's hotel room. We discussed Norman Vincent Peale, because I'd been to Dr. Peale's church that morning, and beepers, which Stallone said were a blight on mankind. I will say that he was kind to me. I was asked up to the hotel room later just to bring something, and I could hear him singing. I knew I'd be invited in. When Ann, my coworker, opened the door, Stallone's manager said, "Thank you," stark naked. I just sat down and cried on the steps of the church next door where I saw a little rabbit's foot, indicating I am not the only one navigating life with roadkill. I couldn't do all of my affirmations and visualizations anymore. I was knocked out. I talked to Stallone a couple of times on the set. I told him I wanted to go to Poland to work on the John Huston film he was doing next. He said he'd mention it to his manager. I didn't really know who John Huston was. I mean, barely. Stallone never did in any way hover over me like he did those turtles in Rocky. Being stupid can lead you to getting some fine jobs, great jobs. I got a great job in the Smithsonian's film department. One of the projects was called Past Visions of the American Future. You know what I noticed in all these films was consciousness remains absolutely the fucking same. It's just more large-scale violence. The furniture, vehicles, and architecture were fabulous, but every single film has the exact same fighting, all the same attitude as Blade Runner with better guns. And given the state of affairs, you know we're all gonna kill each other. Marriage is the best way to understand the Middle East and the nightmare of the ongoing, unfolding lack of consciousness on this planet. A tiny smattering of meditation is not going to do the trick. Do you really think that Calm app is going to solve this tragedy of ongoing domestic ineptitude? No, it's not. Very uplifting, right? Very uplifting. This is why people listen to me. They are very uplifting. I can bring Waylon down off a cloud within 5 minutes of the time he darkens the doorway. After the film wrapped, I sent Stallone a handwritten letter. No, I'm not going to read it. Had a typo. Something about staying in touch. Had my phone number. Oh my God. How do you think life treats people that are this stupid? You know, in church, it sounded like the least of these, those of us with the least emotional intelligence, would somehow be rescued by this beneficent God. Well, no. God, in my experience, that life force of evolutionary intelligence and light, will suck every piece of darkness that's in you out into the wide world for everyone to see. But often it will suck it out, I shouldn't screech, into the kitchen in a marriage first. After Stallone left, I knew I had to learn to deal with real men. And then things got a great deal worse. I refer you to my marriage. Learn to deal with real men. Leave your career in New York. That's what I thought the message was. Maybe the message was be a lesbian. But I sat in enough Al-Anon meetings with gay people in San Francisco after a few more breakups that I heard a gorgeous redhead talking about how her partner had cheated on her. And I figured out they had the same problems with the in-laws. I can tell you this with absolute certainty. Relationships with real men never got me better jobs. Not one. And I missed the fact that Jesus never got married. Buddha left his wife. Buddhists think of this as very noble, by the way. People in India had this tradition of leaving the partner after so many years of being a householder. Get the fuck out. And they made this look spiritual. Now that's a plan. I'm guessing Buddha spent a little time in a marriage and decided he'd rather leave the palace and live on the street. Movies like Rocky, with these happy endings, are treacherous for the untested, for the poorly wrought individual who thinks things turn out on a positive note with a little polish or a few affirmations. The purpose of all of life is to get you into rehab for one thing or another. That's what life is about, including life with real partners. The way out is not marriage. This I have surmised from this treacherous little maze I have navigated with my lack of emotional intelligence. It took me 10 years to tell anyone about that fantasy addiction I had around Stallone. When I finally told my helper at the Center for the Lower Self, the edited, less obsessive version, he said, life is a bowl full of cherries. Today, I realize that means be careful. You are going to break your fucking teeth on a pit. When I told another unlicensed helper at the center, he said, you have to learn to roll with the punches. I think this supports my argument that you need a licensed therapist. However, the more licensed therapy I get, the less faith I have in therapists. I have faith in about 2 of them. When I finally told the truth about that obsession, I should not screech, with Stallone, I was in California with a small group of addicts in a back room, not AA, talking about the pitfalls of relationship. I learned about bagels at 20, addiction at 36, boundaries at 38, boundaries at 39, 40, 42, and 45. And now I think of myself as much improved because I am with this man I am calling a husband for over 2 decades. Nothing against him, but this is not necessarily an enormous improvement over fantasizing that I was going to marry Sly Stallone. I would say this is a much harsher reality than that. You know, in Rambo, presumably, the guns and ammunition were fake. In a life with a real man, they're real. No, I don't have guns. I have a mouth. By the way, last week at the doctor's office, a very elderly woman mentioned to me, I've been married 67 years. I asked, what's your secret? She came right up to me in her mask and said, I don't know how to use a gun. I've said too much. I miss her, that old naive version of myself. I prefer her. I was clueless, you see, in a way that didn't allow me to be unhappy. But I was extremely anxious. I wasn't going to feel depressed. I was going to create my own reality. I thought, gotta stay up, stay up, stay up. Now people say, stay present, stay present. I am just staying in the moment. What they mean is, in my opinion, for God's sake, don't feel anything. I'm just going to look at this piece of laundry and this piece of laundry. See, I'm okay in this minute. Well, maybe not this minute, but in this moment. And I am not going to feel or deal with anything. Well, I've been feeling and dealing with stuff for years. And I have to tell you, seriously, don't get married unless you want your life to be an endless fucking opportunity for growth. A fog. I can tell you, marriage did not fix a thing. Money, in spite of what people will tell you, fixes a lot. Real estate with plenty of square footage and a lot of walls will fix any number of problems. By the way, Waylon is the kind of man who would pat the turtles like Rocky. He would pat the turtles on the back and give me a kiss on his way out the door to a conference in LA. Then I would find out through someone else he's stopped in Vegas. And Waylon, like Rocky, would be saying as we get in his truck, oh, where's your hat? He would say, Here's a blanket for your shoulders, and here's one for your knees. And then he would open all the windows. That's the end.
Woo!
It's Rachel calling me from Arkansas. Hey, lady, what you doing in Ireland? I don't really know, Rach. COVID canceled my 50th high school reunion in Florida. American Airlines didn't refund my money, so I flew from San Francisco to Dublin to celebrate my birthday. Why? You could have gone just about anywhere you wanted to. You got family there? No, I lost my house and business in the crash of '08. I took all the money I hid in the garden shed and traveled around the world. Ireland was the last place I landed on that trip. So I've had a soft spot in my heart for it ever since. Lord, a woman who lost everything at 55 could have gone down to drugs or drink or checked out like your mama did. But no, you thrived. I love you, honey. Stay safe. Bye now. It's Friday night in Dublin. I take a taxi to the Palace. It's a famous old pub. I'm sipping Irish whiskey at the bar. A drunk Irishman slides his hand up my loose Disney t-shirt. I'm not wearing a bra, so he gets pretty excited. I'm gonna take a topless of ya. I want to shag ya tonight. Yeah, you're definitely shaggable. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to the ladies' room, and I quickly take a taxi back to my hotel. Safe in my room, I look up at the Christ Church Cathedral across the street. I'm so lucky to be traveling again in the worldwide pandemic. I'm so grateful to be alive. My mother was 64 when she hung herself. And I was 34 when she died. After her suicide, I didn't think that I would live to be 64. After she died, my father yelled at me. A pounding started in my stomach then and lasted for months. At 62, I got 2 brain tumors. Brain surgery could have done me in then. But I'm 68 years old and I'm looking up at that 1,000-year-old cathedral across the street. How lucky am I to be alive? It's Saturday morning. I've got to get up. I'm going to see a special exhibit called Somebody, Nawalo Afwalin, and a Book That Changed Us at the Museum of Irish Literature. I walk across cobblestone streets, past the Dublin Castle, past swans swimming in ponds at St. Stephen's Green. I arrive at the museum and sit down on a soft black leather sofa and watch a documentary film about the book. I read the book about 20 years ago in the Provence. I was there with Jean-Pierre, my young French lover, so I don't really remember much about the book. Professors and politicians, writers and critics are talking about the bomb this book was when it was published in 1996. This book blew the lid off Irish society and broke all the secrecy codes. When Nuala came clean about her family's alcoholism and abuse, it gave permission to the whole of Ireland to talk about their most personal and private secrets. When I hear Nuala's traumatic memories, my childhood flares up inside of me and I start to cry. And I cannot stop. So happy no one's here seeing me blowing out all this snot. When I was in junior high school, every night my mother would drink half a pint of Kentucky bourbon whiskey straight. She would cook us dinner, and then she would pass out underneath the dining room table. And every night, my father would yell at her listless body on the beige carpet, "Shirley, you drunk, get up and look alive." But my mother could not get up, and I often wondered if she was alive. After my father found my mother hanging, I flew to their house. My brother and sister did not come, so I was alone with my father. One afternoon, I fell asleep exhausted on the sofa. My father yelled at me, "You lazy good for nothing. Get up and look alive." I got up and I stared into my father's dark blue eyes. "You will never talk to me like that again. And you're a reason that she's dead." My father's body began to sway. Finally, I gave him the gut punch he'd given us all our lives. I tried many times to write the truth about my family. My college professor wrote on my paper once, "This story is not believable. It simply cannot be true." So I stopped trying. But I never stopped wondering, what if I could? And I always felt like a failure. because I couldn't. The first time Nuala was sexually penetrated by a boy without her consent is in the exhibit. I flash back to Sunday night youth group potlucks at the Methodist Church in Florida. Red-haired Ronnie McCune pushes me into a dark broom closet, pushes his hand down my underpants and inserts a finger into my vagina. At school the next day, I hear whispers. There goes the slut who got fingered last night. What did I do wrong? Nothing. Who could I tell? Nobody. Nuala wrote an international bestseller, and she got rich and famous for it. But I learned at the exhibit that people who knew her well say that she died feeling like a failure. How could a woman who wrote a book that freed so many people die feeling that way? I'm so grateful. Even though I never wrote my book, I don't feel like a failure anymore. I make it back to my hotel, lie down on my bed, and look up at the cathedral. I think about all it took for me to stay alive and feel comfortable in my own skin, and how differently it could or might have been. I fall asleep, wake up, take a long hot shower. I put on my little black dress and go downstairs to the pub. The pub is crowded and a live band is playing Irish music. I approach the bar. An Irishman smiles at me. Can I buy you an Irish whiskey, love? Sure, I'd love one. We talk about our love of Ireland and our hate for Trump. People all around us are swaying and singing and touching hands. The pub is full of love and fun. I remember the ending of Nuala's Are You Somebody? She wrote, what else can I do? Listen to all the music I can and keep going, keep working on the tunnels through the past and hopefully break through to live in the here and now. Nuala died at 68, the age I am now and so lucky to be. I left Ireland 13 years ago with no home and no man to return to. And now I have happily both in San Francisco. The pub is closing. I say farewell to my new Irish friend and go upstairs and fall in bed. It's Sunday morning. I've got to get up. I'm going to the National Botanical Garden today. Wait, I am living in the here and now, and it is enough, more than enough. It's a gift. I'm still alive.
Thanks everybody for coming to the show tonight, and thanks to all the performers. Have a great night, everybody. That's very good.